Thanks.
She's laughing because I was warming up my face.
Anyways, welcome to the Mama and a Manse podcast. If this is your first time checking it out, I hope that you find something you enjoy and will subscribe and come back week after week. And if you are a returning friend, thank you for hanging out this week. We have a lot to go over because it's been a little bit since I podcasted, and we also went on a trip and there's been lots of yarny stuff happening.
And the live video didn't turn out that well.
No, and that's something too, is some of the stuff that I went over in the live video, I recorded for about 30 minutes before we went on our little vacation, and only about 14 minutes of it went onto YouTube. So I tried to kind of grab things that I talked about there because I'm not sure what got cut out, what was understandable, even if it was in it a little bit. So there's a little bit of stuff from that as well. Anyways, my name is Christy.
Hi, Christy. I'm Michael.
This is my husband, and you can find me on Ravelry and Instagram and Gmail as Mama and a Manse.
And you cannot find me there.
Yeah.
Actually, I made a Ravelry account.
Did you?
Yeah.
What did you make it?
I don't know. I can't remember.
When?
One day. Just so
Obviously.
Just so I could read and see what's commented.
He stalks your comments. So whenever somebody says something about him, then he gets a really big giggle out of it and sits there and checks it all the time to see if anybody's commented. And then he watches the number of views for the ones that he's in compared to the ones that I'm in by myself.
It's been pretty close to the same.
No, it hasn't. The ones that Mike is in, there's less. And so he was complaining about that. But I think what is actually perhaps happening is that people are watching them from the beginning to the end, so it's only one view. Whereas with It's Me, I think people are like turning it off and maybe coming back. Because the view count, or the like view time is really short. I don't know. I don't know how any of that works, but it's
I could watch you all day.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
I watch you when you sleep.
That's creepy. Anyways, so I don't have any new FOs, but the FO that I showed on the live podcast, I will go ahead and share again because I know that I had at least one person ask questions and it really cut out a lot. So I completed my Sign of the Sun shawl by Susanna Winter, and it is in 3 Irish Girls Adorn Luxe in Dogue's Palace and Creme de la Creme. So it has these lovely drop stitches and then this lace and a little bit of stockinette in there too. But I really love this. It really, even though it's wool, it really feels summery to me, I think, because of the colors, and it's pretty open. I wore it when we were in Dubuque, and it was actually decently warm. I know that when we lived there were some summers that we couldn't even wear shorts until like June because it was still so cold. So I had a hard time trying to pack for our trip because I did not trust that it was really going to be 70 in the 70s every day, but it was. But this made a nice layer that wasn't too hot or anything like that. So that's Sign of the Sun, and it's a paid for pattern on Ravelry. And then I have a lot of whips. I kind of got cast on itis really bad. One of the things that I showed for the live was that I had my sweater, my long line cardigan by Joji Locatelli, and I was this far on the sleeve, so pretty far. And I was going to take it to, I planned on taking it and did take it on our trip so that I could finish it for the Hypnotic Yarns and Lofty Loops sweater knit along, because I wanted to enter it. And I pulled it out on the way there to start working on it, and I need the other sleeve too. There's just a big hole. realized that I had left the yarn that I needed to complete it. So it hasn't actually gotten any more done on it, but it's not very far.
When Christy asked me what she should do,
What?
when you've asked me what you should knit next, I'm always like, well, why don't you finish your sweater? And she's like,
I don't want to do the sleeves. It's in my alpaca bag. And there's an alpaca butt on the back. So that will get done sometime, but I've had cast-on-itis extremely bad, and have not wanted to work on something quite that boring. I will try to start with things I've shown before. In my Mrs. Brown's bag tote thing, I have my fading point, and you might have seen on Instagram that I finished my first half last night. It is in Miss Bab's Yummy 2-ply in the Mountain Twilight set that they made for the fading point. I am absolutely in love with it. The only color that kind of striped a little bit in the fading was in between 2 and 3, but otherwise I really like how the fades came out, and of course all the strings are going to the front. There we go. It is super pretty, and I will probably start working on the other side of that before long, but I just finished that last night. I love that yarn. It is so soft, so squishy, so springy. Like, I'm really glad I went with that set.
I am too.
Why do you care?
Because I love you.
That's new. This is new. So since I forgot the yarn on for my long line cardigan, I pulled out my nestled socks, which are on Lofty Loops yarns and her MCN base in the Wisteria Lane colorway. And I actually moved with my stitch marker, or my progress keeper dealie. It was down here, I think, for the live show, and I moved it, but then realized that didn't really turn out anyway. So I did quite a bit while we were driving, did the heels while we were in Dubuque, Fish Lips Kiss, and so now I just need to finish the feet of these. This yarn is probably my favorite yarn right now. It is the softest I have ever felt. I love it. And I love this colorway. These little specks of green are just so lovely. I wanted to make these a lot taller because I was so in love with the yarn and wanted to use a ton of it, but even though my cast on is stretchy, like, it was really kind of binding up and it wouldn't go any further up my legs, so I just stopped there.
Maybe it was too hairy.
I shaved my legs before we went.
I haven't since then.
I shaved them this morning. And I think I shaved them once since then.
You can shave them whenever you would like, honey.
This is living in my Creative Garage unicorn bag. And I brought her card over here, but now I don't know what I did with it. These were something that I had just gotten before the live, and I have no idea if they got shown or not. But it has this nice handle on it, pretty rope, kind of a canvasy and denim bag, and she's got her little tag, and her website is mycreativegarage.com. I can't reach any places to put stuff because there's so much stuff. So in my I Knit Because Punching People is Frowned Upon bag from Stitch Together Studio, I bought it at Imagine It. I have my giant sock. There's so many cords in here I can't figure out what I'm grabbing. I ripped out Mike's sock and started it over, and I just finished the toe. I did this morning, I just finished the toe with the reinforcement yarn and just have like 2 rows without it. It's on 68 stitches. I'm gonna knit for a little bit and see how it fits around his foot because his toes are so long for a size 15 foot that I can't really get down to where his actual, like, the width of his foot is with the swatch. This is not very stretchy with that reinforcement thread in it. So I'm gonna see if 68 will work.
I just realized I have a stain on my shirt.
Yeah, you wore that on your meeting, to your meeting too, I saw that.
But I didn't know it was there.
That doesn't mean that everybody else didn't see it.
You could have said something.
These I am doing on size 0s, which I don't even know what the millimeters are. Those are 2 millimeters, US 0, which is not my normal. I normally do everything on 1s, but because I had such a problem with gauge with this, and so this took a really long time because trying to work with the 0s and the 2 yarns, this was so dense and it was taking forever, but I'm gonna go with that. I'm doing a little bit of a rib to give it some stretch, but I'm hoping that doesn't make it too wide. I don't know. He still hasn't got a pedicure, so I don't necessarily have to have them done by Father's Day.
I mean, maybe you could give me a pedicure for Father's Day.
No, I think you should be proactive and get the pedicure so you can have the nice hand knit socks.
Okay.
You can't kick people though if they touch your feet.
My feet are really ticklish. I kind of giggle like
I think you just did that. Oh my gosh. Oh, that must have been in there too. Okay, so then I also had a few more cast-ons since last I talked to you. This bag is also from my Creative Garage. It's another drawstring, but it's open. It's the llamas. I decided to start my Sharp Arrow by Susie White of Prairie Girl Designs. And Suburban Stitcher is having a Susie knit along, and she also has a Get Suburban knit along. So Mike, as he was listening to my podcast while I was listening to her one time, heard about the Get Suburban one, and so he had ordered me some yarn. So this is Grape Expectations and 2 AM Kisses. Forgive the fact, oh, maybe this side would be better to show. Forgive the fact these balls look crazy because they've traveled 12 hours and whatnot.
That's what he said.
Oh my god. It's like, I don't even understand what you're talking about. And they are both single sock. So 100% superwash merino from Suburban Stitcher. And
that was really funny.
That was not funny. Nobody ever thinks you're funny. So this
Comment below if you think that was funny.
Or don't. I've got wool fuzz on my lip or something. Okay, so the top I did in the Grape Expectations, and it's really hard to show because these needles really aren't long enough. And then I'm doing the lace section in the 2 AM Kisses, and I'm just like 3 or 4 rows into that, so you can't really see it much. But that is happening. It looks brighter, I think, on the thing than it does in person.
Yeah.
It's a little deeper and not quite so fluorescent. Oops, just stuck a needle through my shirt. Okay, so that was a new cast on, and I think I cast it on my birthday. Or did I do it the day before? Might have done it the day before, because my birthday was last week too. Then I also started a blanket that I bought yarn for last year before Violet was born. It's the Cabled and Gray blanket. It is by Lisa Van Claveren. And it is crochet. I'm doing it in Knit Picks palette. I have a ton done. This is my blanket.
Violet's a little bit bigger than this.
She can cover up with it like that. I haven't gotten very far. I'm doing it on the size of hook. I don't know what size this is because I can't find any of my stitch gauges. And it doesn't, the Odyssey hooks, when I got them, did not have it engraved or anything on it, so I don't know what it is. That also didn't matter a lot because this pattern doesn't have a gauge on it, which I found quite annoying when I was trying to do it. It says that you can do it in any, it suggests an F size crochet hook and says how big the finished blanket ended up being, but doesn't tell you anywhere what her gauge was. So I have no idea if this is too loose or not. I kind of thought it was a little bit, but Mike said no, so.
Yeah, that's fine.
I guess it's fine. And apparently we skipped over spring and went straight to summer while we were gone out of Nebraska because our allergies have been awful since we've been back. All the kids have them. Well, not the boys. All the girls have allergies, I think. Either that or Violet's getting a cold. I'm not sure which, but she's had a really runny nose and we've both been having problems with it. So, okay, and then before I go straight into acquisitions, I have another project in a flamingo bag from my Creative Garage. And I bought this yarn while we were gone. And it is The Weekender by Andrea Mallory. And it is Barocco Voyage, which is a discontinued yarn. It is 93% superfine alpaca and 7% polyester worsted in this pinky purple bluey color. I don't even know. Do they even have a name? Or do they have like numbers for their colors? I don't see any color name. Yeah, it's color 4011.
I thought it was more of a 4010.
I know. Because these were discounted, I got all the skeins. They were like $6 each, not. But I bought this for the Weekender, which I started on Tuesday. Oh, I'm in the middle of a row apparently. So it is also on small needles. Excuse me.
Bless you.
It's also on pretty small needles because when I had it on 40s, it was curling up and I couldn't move the stitches around, and that was annoying the crap out of me. Surprisingly enough, I am knitting this on the needles suggested in the pattern, which are 9s. This yarn is like super stretchy, and so I think that that has something to do with it. This is actually the wrong side, but you knit it with the wrong side showing, so that will be the right side. I did a tubular cast on, which was my first, and I really like that. But that's, I think that's all I have to say about that. But.
That's all I have to say about that.
Oh my goodness. I got that yarn from Yarn Soup in Dubuque. And on that particular trip to Yarn Soup, I also got a sweater's quantity of Barocco Fiora in this green and this tan to make the Puddles and Pure by Alicia Plummer, which I don't know if there's actual, I don't think there's an actual picture. There's not. It's a striped thing. I am going to move where my stripes fall because a lot of the ones that I've seen have this stripe going right into the V, and even if it's really close to the V and not being cut off by it, it seems to kind of peak. So I'm moving mine down a little bit so that it's not close to there, and I hopefully will not have that. A lot of them have kind of the V ending and there's like a line on both sides, and so it looks, I don't like it. But it has this nice, the ribbing is eyelets instead of ribbing. The cuffs and band, I guess it wouldn't be the ribbing. But that's what that sweater is going to be, and I have swatched for that. And on that one, I'm having to go down 2 needle sizes, so here's my little swatch. So interesting. Okay. Oh, and then the other thing is, I don't know, I feel like I did finish one of these while I was gone in the Autumn and Indigo row 1 club yarn. I think I finished that one while we were gone, but I can't remember which ones I've shown you. So I'm on the, I have one after this purple left for that month, and then I will have completed all the triangles for that. Mike has to weave in my ends. When I got back from Dubuque, I had my next month of row 1 ready, and I think I left my progress marker over there, but it was little grapes. And this month from them, I believe it's the Woolberry Fiber Company, and it is 80/20. So there's all the, whoops, now I'm just throwing yarn. This is extremely soft. I'm really excited to use this one. You're so weird. So there's a lot of neutrals in this one. But I will show those better and more clearly when I'm getting ready to knit with them, or when I have knitted them into the things. Okay, and so I think that that's all of my projects. So the other stuff that I got, I went to Yarn Soup twice. That's my original yarn store. I felt really bad on LYS Day that I wasn't going there. But I went in one day, got a few things, and then went back a different day and bought the sweaters quantity. So I did get stitched together yarn. And I believe this company is from Milwaukee, which is sort of localish to them. It is super, super sparkly and is a gray tonal. This is Silver Tongue. I keep wanting to say Silver Shovel and I don't know why. I also got Rainbow Blip, also from Stitch Together. So it has this rainbow color in it, speckles. And then it's gray at the other end. These are 75/25. This is 92/8 Lurex. I don't know what I'm gonna do with these yet. Then there were a couple of sock yarns on sale. So there was Regia, and I really like these color repeat socks, they're fun. And then this is the super squishy soft stuff with cashmere in it. What color is this? Again, it's a number.
It's like a blue.
Thank you. These don't have numbers either, or things. I grabbed a few more needles and some little panda things because my kids like to take these and chew on them and then they get lost. And a little pair of scissors to hide from my son. And And that was all from Yarn Soup, and it was so good to go in there and like check in. And the yarn lady that owns the store is getting married, and she's doing well enough that she has people working for her part-time, and I thought that was great. That was such awesome news, because I know on Instagram I've seen a lot of people talking about like their local stores closing. So, oh, I guess I should show this side of thing. The yarn that I showed was from Yarn Soup, and that's her little logo, and they're in Dubuque, Iowa. It is a lovely shop. Then we took a ride up the river road, and you probably have seen video of that. I didn't take any video in the stores because when I went into Yarn Soup I was talking too much, and when I went into the one I'm about to show you, there were a lot of people in there, and I did not feel comfortable walking into a place I'd never been and recording. I don't know, it just felt weird. So we took a ride up the river road and went to Yarnology in Winona, Minnesota. We wanted to move to Winona when we discovered it, you know, 5 years ago or whatever it was. And we were basically like, any job that's in Minnesota we're gonna take. It's so gorgeous. And then when he was able to be hired, there were no jobs in Minnesota. But since then, Winona has needed a pastor. So I just think that's kind of ironic.
But we happen to be happy here, so.
Yeah, we got offered a lot of jobs while we were there. Because we went for our pastors / mentors, trying to get all these little things before cats come and steal them, for her retirement. And so a lot of people were like, okay, well now you guys can move back and be our pastor. And yeah. Anyways, Yarnology. I got several things there that I hadn't seen anywhere else. I have had the Dream Jilly single ply, but my shop in Omaha, Imagine It, doesn't have any more of the singles, and I really loved how this pulled in Emma's hat, so I grabbed that. This colorway is 6 of everything, and it is literally all my colors. I absolutely love that. Then there was some Spun Right Round, the Big Teal Wave, which I hadn't seen anywhere before. I mean, I'd seen it on podcasts, but not in person. And it's an 80/20. This is Vesper Sock Yarn. 430 yards of self-striping goodness. This is Poetry in Motion. I really liked that one. The green's really showing in the camera. There's maybe more blue in it than it seems. And then local to them is Abacus Dye Works. And I got this lovely beauty. I like to get a local yarn while I'm on vacation or whatever. I also grabbed an Acreworks swatch gauge. Excuse the fingerprints on it. The 1-year-old was playing with this earlier and trying to eat the package. But I've seen these a lot and wanted to try. Well, I've seen them on podcasts, and I wanted to try one out, but I hadn't seen them in person yet. So I grabbed that, and I used it to measure, but my gauges weren't big enough. My gauge swatches. But I hate swatching. Okay, so that's all of our vacation stuff. When I came home, I had several packages, including my row 1 yarn for this month. But while Mike was gone in Tahoe on his vacation without the family, he, in addition to the other gilt yarn that he bought.
Birthday yarn.
Gilt yarn.
Anniversary yarn.
Gilt yarn.
Mother's Day yarn.
No. It was none of those things. He ordered from... Okay, so his friend Sandy, who is like the head knitter of their
one of the head pastors in our group is also a
company
knitter.
of new pastors. Everybody in the group now knits, but she's like the one that's been doing it the longest. Anyways, she lives in Portland?
Seattle.
She lives in Seattle and this person lives in Portland?
Yes.
So she told him that her favorite indie dyer that was local to her is Knitted Wit. So he ordered me this Love is Love, and it came while we were gone. I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but it is the most fluorescent rainbow goodness ever. And he also signed me up. Here's her little card. You can find her as Knitted Wit on Instagram as well. He also signed me up for their Herstory 2008 Sock Club. So each month they send you a yarn inspired by a woman of history. Well, not like super history, because this lady was only 40 and she just recently died. But this month was Miriam Kurzakani. Right there. Kurzakani. Hani. I'm not sure. She was an Iranian mathematician and apparently like really is amazing. But they made this yarn based on a Muslim temple, the colors in it, and the colorful tiles and stuff. They tried to explain what kind of math she did, and I didn't even understand it. Something about the space underneath curves. But I thought that was kind of a fun topic. This is pretty yarn. And then it comes with like her story. There's like a 2-page little paper that tells you about her and how they picked the colors for the yarn and her accomplishments and, you know, why she's been picked and all that kind of stuff. So that was fun to come back to. Another thing that I had in the mail when I came back was I won a giveaway from On the Lamb podcast. If you haven't checked them out, you definitely should. They're a couple of sisters, and the way that they do their podcast is they live kind of far apart, and so they're talking to each other like on Skype or something. And you just feel like you're part of the conversation with them when you're watching them. But I won, I think for going over 100 subscribers for them, they had a little giveaway, and I got this cute little bag with their logo on it. And there's a little progress keeper on it that also has their logo. And I have really, really enjoyed their podcast. They do different stuff. I feel like some podcasts, you watch them and you kind of are seeing some of the same things a lot. But they design and also do crochet, and it's just, it's fun to listen to them and knit with them. I think in the live podcast I talked about I have this pot holder maker thingy that I was taking with me to make presents for my craft group, and it's Harris Builds designed Pot Holder Pro, so it makes bigger ones. And so here's 2 of them that were made while we were gone. I mostly did not do these. I did the first one, the first lines on this one. Emma did all the weaving, and then I did the finish part. And then Emma did, I told her what to do on this one. And then she did a couple rows, and then my friend Kirsten did the rest of the weaving.
Isaiah did a row.
Did he?
Maybe a row.
I don't find the weaving as fun as like the first time and trying to think of the design, but Kirsten finished the weaving and then I did the outside. And so I have 2 done for that, but as you can see, they're large. So more so than like the 7-inch ones where you are likely to grab the pan when you try to take something out. These are big enough that you can really get a hold of something well. And so I really like these, and they're super thick. I love the ones that we've made for our house.
I do too.
And you have huge hands.
That's right.
That's because all your size went into your feet and your hands and not your brain.
I'm really glad you said brain.
You really think I was going to say something else on, I guess it's not national TV, but YouTube, whatever. Something I did show was I got the Vogue Knitting Ultimate Knitting Book from Knit Picks because it was 40% off. And I had flipped through it and kind of looked at it. There's lots of sections. The section that I really loved was they have like designing stuff in it and how to make different shawl shapes. So I really loved that. But I will be looking at that a lot in the future. I need to take a break.
You should make a shawl shape and call it Redemption. So it would be the shawl shape Redemption.
I think we all got that and groaned. Okay.
So are we taking a break?
Do you need to go?
I gotta leave sometime. I gotta pick up the children soon. But we can take a break and then I can leave. You want me to show mine?
Oh. Yeah, I totally forgot.
Yeah, here, let me whip this out.
Oh my gosh. These are not good for leaning against.
No, they're not. They're not very comfortable either. I've completed like 2 more rows on my hat. So I mean, I put in a good 10 minutes of knitting since the last podcast, probably. It's still.
You had me take it for you in
almost done.
Dubuque, and you didn't ever touch it.
I was busy.
We were on vacation. You weren't busy.
I was busy vacationing. I was vacationing from my knitting.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know.
I was on vacation, so I was knitting.
I was enjoying the scenery. I was the one driving when you were knitting.
This is true.
I spent a lot of time driving. I tried to drive and knit once.
I thought you did. I didn't drive at all when we went up.
Oh, I got yarn cut in my zipper.
Stop.
Don't pull it.
What did you do?
It's caught in there.
Is it? Yeah,
I don't know.
It is. That's not good.
Have you ever seen the movie Something About Mary?
You know the answer to that. Dang, you were like having all kinds of issues right now.
I know, and that's the skein I'm using.
I know. Well, we'll take care of it later.
And you lost my tassel.
Oh my gosh, would you shush? Anyways, we're gonna take a break so he can go get the kids. Alright. So the day after that we came back from Dubuque, there was a fiber fair close to us, sort of. I heard about the Mid-Plains Fiber Fair last year. It was their first year. And I wasn't able to go. I can't remember why. But it's out in York, which is about an hour and a half from here, and basically was going to have lots of local things going on, and so I wanted to go to it this year. So I made a point to make sure I got there, and I picked up quite a bit of goodness there as well. The first little shop that I went to was Hanson Hand Dyes, and I believe she's out of Omaha, but she put her yarn in this cute little bag. So I have another little project bag. This first one is called, well, it's her Twyla base, which is 92 superwash merino, 8% lurex in the colorway Gemini. So it is this amazing, sparkly, it's very, very sparkly. It's one of the sparkliest yarns that I've had. It is bigger skein. Sorry. I apologize. Allergies. At first I wasn't going to get it because it seemed a little more expensive, but then I realized that it is 142 grams, 500 yards. So this is probably going to be some sort of shawl or something because it's so big. And also I thought that it looked kind of nice with this one that I got in Dubuque. But it is the blues and purples that I love. I just really enjoyed that one. The other one that I picked was called Woodstock. It's on Bounce Stock, which is an 80/20. And it is rainbow. But it's like, okay, so I love rainbow stuff, but I really love non-traditional rainbows. You know, like this neon that Mike got me, I super love this. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it yet, but I really love the neon-y of this. And I really like this because the red is hot pink. I'm not a fan of orange. I know I've said that a lot. And so there's not really orange and yellow so much in this. It kind of fades quickly into a yellowy green, I guess, and then it's kind of lime. And then it has, this is sort of a traditional blue, but it's a little brighter than that. And then this deep purple. So I really loved that. And I thought I had her card right here, but I'm not seeing it right now. Her website is Hansen Hand Dyes on Etsy. I grabbed a few buttons because they were dirt cheap. I don't have plans for them, but I got a big like Hawaiian flower hibiscus one. I got like 10 of these wooden ones that have kind of a flower shape. Because I wasn't buying them for a project, I figured 10 is probably more than I would ever need, and I really liked these, so I felt good getting them. They were like 25 cents. And then I got several sheepy ones that have different sheep things on them. Pink sheep, white sheep, a black and white sheep together. Those were from A Twist in Time, and she is in Southwest Missouri, which is where we were originally from. It doesn't show a website, but it does have an email. Then I got this yarn. It is from Fire Ant Ranch Fiber Arts, and their website is fireantranch.com. This is fingering weight silky sock, 25% silk, 75% merino. It's 100 grams, but I just love this purpley gray yumminess, and it is so squishy and so soft. It's skeined really loosely too, but it's very squishy and soft. So it had to come home with me. Then there was Country Dream Acres, which is actually local to me, within 10 miles. And I had no idea that there were people, but they have Angora rabbits. So I got this little set. Did I say it was Country Dream Acres? I can't remember. So it's a 2 skein Yummy Bunny Cowl kit. There's a picture of the cowl, and I got a gray colorway. I don't know how well you can see it. I wouldn't let anybody open this. My daughter wanted to feel it because I said it was like super soft, and she didn't believe me, but I wouldn't let her open it till I podcasted. But I got a gray, and this yarn is off the bunny named Madeline. It's 100% French Angora hand spun 2-ply yarn. Oh, I think maybe it's from 2 bunnies, Lieutenant Corey and Madeline. Or no, maybe it's light gray from the bunny Madeline. But it came with the pattern and the 2 skeins, and so I'm excited to make this. I really enjoyed playing with that, and that's my first Angora. And they had a cowl made up, and it was adorable, and I mean, it's a simple cowl, but just the softness and the halo was just delightful. I also got this yarn from Mode Knit Yarn. And I feel like they're from Minnesota. Hand dyed with love and care in Minnesota. So it's a gradient. I plan on also using this for a cowl so that it, you know, goes from gray to gray. It is 60% superwash merino, 60% bamboo, and 10% nylon. So there's the Mode Knit yarns. And their website is modeknityarn.com, and they are on Instagram as Mode Knit Yarn. And then there was a dyer from Omaha called T&H Fiberworks. And I picked this up. It is Dragonfly Dreams in 80/20 in more purples, blues, and greens. I don't have a color palette at all, do I? I could actually yarn beard this. I was really in love with this one and picked it. There were actually a couple more, but even though our anniversary and my birthday and Mother's Day all happened within like 2.5 weeks, I was kind of feeling guilty about the amount of yarn I've gotten lately, and so I didn't want to get more, but I really enjoyed this. And Mike went back in to check on something for me, and while he was in there, he picked, also from T&H, this, which is called Lana, which is a green and pink, and he says it also has sparkle in it. He says he's gonna make me a pair of socks out of this, which I will be interested to see. I feel like this is gonna stripe, but I am like doubting that he's going to do this, but we will see. You never know. And then he also got this mini skein, which is called Danielle, which is teal, pink, and purple. And that, my friends, is all of the yarn. It was a lot. I came back from vacation and our internet there was, we had it, but it was not very quick and it kind of stalled out quite frequently. And so I didn't even attempt to try to podcast. Plus there were 10 of us staying in an apartment, and I would have felt really super weird, and there was no way to like not have kids all over you. I have some video from there and from the fiber fair. Our kids, they had an announcement like that kids could come out and show alpacas and llamas. And so our kids did that. I was surprised that, I thought maybe Emma might, but the other two, Isaiah, if he's embarrassed or uncomfortable, he tends to, don't hit the thing. He tends to look like he's mad and just be growly and cross his arms and not look at anybody. And Lizzie's kind of a chicken about things. Like, she's scared of, she says she's scared of everything, though truthfully I don't really think she is. I think she's just doing it for attention. This is Minerva. She's the one that's probably not been on here the most, because she's our shy one. She's the one that has the heart murmur. She seems to be fine. I mean, she's getting big. Yes, I'm talking about you. Yeah, do you want to get down? Okay. So I have a few videos of that. Not quite sure how they will turn out. Do not chew on the yarn. Side note, I always thought on cartoons and storybooks and everything like that, that when they said stuff about kittens playing with yarn balls, that it was just a thing, like a stereotype, or not really true. I assumed that, you know, if a piece of yarn is like hanging somewhere and they could bat at it, they would be interested in it and then they would play with it. No. my cats are eating yarn all the time. I have to put all my yarn away and my needles because they like the cables on my circulars as well. So every night I put like a blanket and tuck in my knitting. It's ridiculous. I tuck my knitting in more than I do my children. Oh my goodness. Sorry. I look like I'm not wearing any makeup in this. Sorry. The lighting's not great because it's really bright outside, but the window's over here, and I guess I could have moved my camera after Mike went away, but... Oh, does that bunny yarn smell good, Minerva? Yeah, you're not getting it. Anyways, I don't know. We celebrated our 11th anniversary while we were there. Well, we didn't celebrate it. It passed while we were in Dubuque. My birthday, and then Mother's Day is this weekend. It's also graduation, so we have all of our graduation recognition at church. I think we have 6 or 7 parties that we've been invited to, so that's pretty much how I'm spending Mother's Day. I doubt that I'll have a Mother's Day cast on just because I've cast on so many things lately, and truthfully I want to keep casting more on. Why are you behind me? Oh, she's like in my... Oh, you can see at the top of her head. I don't know what she's doing. Basically that's everything that's happened in the last couple of weeks in a nutshell. Do remember to go over to the Ravelry group, Mama and Manse, and tell me what you would make out of this yarn. There's been a few people who've put stuff and they've done 1 skeins, which is totally fine. Actually, I think I saw one of those and thought it might be a good first shawl for Emma when she finishes her hat. But I also have a lot of Lofty Loops yarn in this area. And so if you have something that you would put this in that like is more than 1 skein, then that works too, because I have a pattern in mind for some of it, but I have quite a bit, so enable me to buy patterns because I bought a lot of yarn lately, which is not normal. It's just been one of those times. And plus it's my season, so that helps too. But this is the Lofty Loops MCN base, and it's her LYS day that she did for my local yarn shop, Imagine It. It is, I feel like it's a little bit bluer than it shows on the camera, but it has lovely purple speckles and some gray in it. There's this little fun bit in there. I have a skein of this, but I also have a skein, this skein, to give away to you guys. So by going over and telling me what shawl that you would like to see that in, you will be entered to win, and on my next podcast I will be giving that away. And speaking of next podcast, now that we are back and kind of trying to get into the routine of everything, I'm hoping to start doing this again weekly. I was doing pretty good at it, and then we kind of had a lot of trips and things going on. So now I'm going to try to get back into it. But of course, next Wednesday, which is the day I kind of picked as the day to podcast, is the last day of school and the kids are getting out early. So I don't know which day I will pick. I will pick one, I promise. But also just be aware that through the summer it will be much more unlikely that I will be able to podcast without children. So there may be many hosts, co-hosts hanging out with me sometimes. The baby is very mobile and her birthday is a week from next Tuesday. She's starting to go in between the furniture, you know, when she can touch it, which it seems really strange because she looks really, really small. So when she's like walking around furniture, it seems very odd. But anyway, she is mobile now, and so if she's awake, she's gonna crawl in here, and the big kids like to see themselves on the camera. and I forgot to turn my phone onto airplane mode, so I really hope that I haven't gotten a bunch of emails and that you're hearing those dings, because I find that super annoying when I'm listening to podcasts and they're recording with their phone and then I'm constantly checking my phone because they're getting notifications and it's not mine. But I keep getting texts and those don't seem to be making noise, but I don't know about emails. I think that's about it. I can't think of anything. I'm sure I'm forgetting lots because I always do. Don't forget to enter any giant feet socks that you are knitting in our giant feet along. There's not like a separate faux and chatter thread. It's basically a support group for people with giant feet, or that are knitting giant feet. Knitting giant socks for giant feet. I can't even talk. That's going to end on Father's Day. That's what I'm making Mike's socks for. And he was going to, but I don't know now that he would finish in time. So we'll see. I know there's one finished object in there already. So somebody is much better at getting that done than I am. But that is all for this week. I hope that you enjoyed your time with me, and I'll see you next week. Enjoy your knitting. Woke up on the move on the way to Dubuque. The Manse has been abandoned for the week. Hi, Violet. Yeah. Hi. I see you trying to look. I was hoping Lizzie was still sleeping with her mouth open, but she's not.